Welcome back to Ocarina of Time 3D and a Merry Christmas to you all. We've got the last 4 parts of the playthrough to show you guys today, so let's kick things off with the last temple in the game, the Spirit Temple. And Mexi, I believe this one's your favourite, isn't it?
It is. I absolutely love it. I love its gimmick, love its aesthetic. Music is alright, it's not the greatest, but honestly, if you're gonna judge a temple by its music, you're missing the mark.
Yeah. No, obviously, because of the way Ocarina plays out, you can either encounter this temple last or Shadow Temple. Which one do you think works better?
I actually like this one because it sort of serves as a last hurrah for young Link. I mean, you haven't played as him for a really long time, and each side of Link kind of got their own showcase. And so I sort of like at the end, you have to bring all your skills together to beat the Spirit Temple.
Thematically, it works as well, because as you can see here, this is Nibiru, the leader of the Gerudo, and going through Ganondorf's homeland to get the last medallion has a certain nice ring to it, I think.
Yeah, because we've been hearing how big and bad he is, we've seen what he does, we've seen what he looks like, and even though we're not getting too much, you can kind of see that Ocarina of Time is starting to show you like his backstory, his upbringing. They could have done a lot more, but let's be honest, Ocarina of Time is pretty bare bones when it comes to its story. Just seeing where he was being raised is pretty much the game saying you know all about his backstory now.
Yeah, well, if you want a game with a story, at least Zelda, go play, I don't know, Majora or Skyward.
I would honestly say Twilight Princess. I mean, even though it's still not perfect, Twilight Princess, at least rather than just showing you something, they give Ganondorf like his own little backstory arc. Like, they showed lots of stuff that he did in the past.
Okay, you mentioned Ganondorf and Twilight Princess in the same sentence, fuck you, by the way, and I kind of went into a little rage. I'll probably edit that out. It was internal, though, so it don't matter.
If you haven't already before entering this temple, take off your Deku Shield.
Yep.
This may be a sand-themed dungeon, but there is a shit ton of fire enemies just waiting to reduce your inventory to ash.
Yeah, because Nintendo hates you like that.
But they love you so much, they are your childhood.
Bless you, gyro controls, bless you.
I may have neglected to mention this, but they really up those Armos when they come to life, how they look less stone and they look more scaly.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Young Link is also at kind of a disadvantage in this portion of the dungeon, mostly due to his height. Because you're now fighting adult Link-sized enemies, but you're using young Link's reach.
A cool strategy here, actually, is to, like in the Shadow Temple, lure the Stalfos to the edge and then, like, knock it off, or get it to back off the platform.
It's hilarious. They fall into the abyss and are never seen from again.
Okay, that's not as easy as I made it look, I just want to say that now.
Yeah, getting the Boomerang's arc, still no better than it was in Jabu's belly. It's also kind of meant to be a plot point, but the Master Sword does do more damage than the Kokiri Sword, so these enemies are also going to take a bit more time to kill. Damn, just using magic to cheese your way through, Tom. It's so good. That enemy is called an Anubis, you know, after the Egyptian god of the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that he only appears in this dungeon, and there's only like 2 of them.
2, 3, maybe 5 at max, because there's a puzzle room later that involves them. But I like that. I'm going to use the word thematic a lot throughout this part, I think, but it works. I like dungeon-specific enemies. It makes them unique.
Yeah, well, he's not only dungeon-specific, he's game-specific. I mean, you will never see that guy ever again, so... Oh well, there goes a wasted design. Damn, the gate wall is so strong, it actually prevents wall masters from coming to pick you up. That's so cool.
No, I don't want to get near the gate. Well, get near this sword, bitch.
Gate 2 OP, please nerf.
Attacking wall masters with the Kokiri sword is basically like going after them with a butter knife.
Well, I did call it the Royal Butter Knife back in what, part 1?
Yeah, what was that, back in 2003?
Yeah, a good decade ago. You can actually enter this room first and light those torches over there to spawn the chest, but unfortunately the gap is sort of in the room preventing you from getting to the chest, so you do need to go all the way around in order to get all the silver rupees to get to this chest.
Just real slow. That's one thing Skyward did right, I think, the ability to shimmy up a ledge.
Oh, Skulltula token, because we've totally been giving a shit about those for the entire playthrough, and collecting all of them, because it's so worth it to get the infinite money prize at the end, right?
Yeah, we're not doing that, right?
No. God, no. I don't think I will ever 100% Ocarina of Time just because I don't give a shit about gold Skulltulas.
You can probably guess the only game I gave a shit about in terms of like side quests and the like, Zelda-wise.
The only game where the side quests are the main focus. Remember when Skulltulas, the regular kind, were actually kind of a threat and big and intimidating? I don't.
They're still kind of intimidating if you're arachnophobic like myself.
Game designs. You could also use the boomerang. That's the other thing that's so cool about the Spirit Temple, is that even though you're playing as young Link, you have a full inventory. Now puzzles, while they're not the best or the most difficult, you have so many options. Also, fuck yeah, bomb choose. Tom, I'm gonna level with you. I'm disappointed that it took until the last temple to get the best item in Ocarina of Time.
The game didn't require me to have them until the last temple, so blame the game.
I don't care, dude. Not only can the bomb shoes climb up the walls, but the most important thing about them is that they are an explosive that doesn't require the bomb bag to hold. While it may not seem like the biggest thing for speedrunning, that is hella important. That's why, long before wrong works were discovered, getting bomb shoes as quickly as possible was your #1 priority.
Well, it removes a step, so I can see why speedrunners would like it.
Exactly. The one they would always get is at the bottom of the well. Unfortunately, their whole wall climbing abilities, it's kind of iffy because they zigzag.
Now, the entrance to the boss of this temple is actually in the head of the statue, which I always thought was pretty cool.
There's also in this room, this is the main chamber, this is another statue to the goddess of the sand, which is kind of weird. That's been something that's been lacking in all the other so-called temples, is some sort of patron deity that's worshipped. Like, the other temples, sure, they had guardians and stuff, like the dragons and the water temple, or the ravens and the shadow temple, and for this temple, it's all snakes. But no god or goddess to speak of. And since there is a lot of evidence supporting that the goddess of the sand is in fact Din, one of the 3 gods who made Hyrule, wouldn't that make the Gerudo, the outcast race, the most pious people in all of Hyrule?
What, like they're descended from Din or something?
Maybe. I mean, think about it this way. They allowed Ganondorf to get a hold and keep a piece of the Triforce. All the other races, I mean, they pretty much built their temples as, shopping malls and nightclubs, but the goddesses are now punishing them by allowing a Gerudo to have the Triforce of Power.
And actually, if you think back to Seasons, Din herself was tanned and had red hair, much like the Gerudo females.
And dancing, although, I don't know, it's probably wrong, but I really do equate the Gerudos to a more Arabic-type people. This room is really, really annoying. Let's lay this out. I wanna get this out there to you people. This is one room that requires 3 separate puzzles to make it through, and you have to do them in a set order in order to get through. But it's Child Link's last room, so maybe they want to at least give him a little bit more spotlight.
Does this disdain come from you being a speedrunner or you just being a Zelda fan?
Me being a Zelda fan, this room is not even entered. You don't even go into Spirit Temple as a kid in speedruns. The first thing I do is, like Tom did, you want to get rid of the beamos, because laser beam to the face, not bueno. Then you got to get the sunblock into the light. Then you got to collect the silver rupees to light a torch. Then when you light the torch, you gotta light the other torches to get a key, and then, and only then, can you progress past this room.
Jesus, I think I aged about 5 years during the course of that explanation.
There's also slicey blades running across the floor.
Let's just make my job harder, why don't you?
But once again, this is Child Link's last puzzle room, so I guess I will copy Tom and say it's thematic.
Thank you, thank you. Now, I've read a few FAQs that say if you stand in like the right place and use Din's fire, you can light up all the torches at once. I'm not sure how true that is, and I wasn't able to get it to work, so meh.
I wouldn't have tried it either. And the most gratuitous use of red carpet in a dungeon goes to... Oh, look at that, Spirit Temple.
Oh, it's the Water Temple.
Once again, it just sort of shows that the Spirit Temple feels more religious in nature. Everything else was sort of like, oh, we built this temple to ourselves because we're such the greatest people ever.
Well, you say that, and then you get to the item of the dungeon, which had to be altered for the Western release.
Yeah. Yes. I have to admit, Tom, I'm going to give you some credit. When a couple months, years, how many years ago, when I read on Twitter that you were getting frustrated recording this temple, I honestly thought it was because you kept dying to the Iron Knuckles. I honestly feared the worst, that you were just going to outright cancel the playthrough, or worse, use Nehru's love against it. I was thinking to myself, come on, Tom, it's a rhythm, it's just a rhythm. Then you uploaded the footage and, well, I was impressed. You wasted bombs, but hey, you got through this pretty well.
Yeah, nowadays I never have a problem with Iron Knuckles unless I'm just, not concentrating. You jump in, and then you back off, you jump in, you back off. It's like Mexi said, it's rhythmically based, really.
And especially the Child Link one, because of his reach, and the fact that his jump slash doesn't go as far. And once again, the Kokiri sword does only do about half as much damage as the Master Sword. Wee! I think it's a graphical glitch, but it's the best graphical glitch in existence.
It is pretty entertaining, yeah.
Holy shit. Mr. Owlman, you're still here? Last we saw you, it was like, what, during the Requiem of Spirit cutscene? That was a good long time ago. How long you been waiting up here?
Hoo-hoo, you did very well with the Zeldathon, but why is it taking you so long to update? Hoo-hoo!
Shut the fuck up before I shove that lollipop up your ass. Luckily, this is the last time we will see him, and yes, after decades of speculation, Hyrule Historia confirmed that Kaporia Gaboria is Rauru. It is kind of weird that he randomly just comes back at the end of the game in owl form, but we at HFC, we don't judge whether you feel more comfortable in the body of a human or an owl. That's totally your business.
The gauntlets look so much better in this remake.
Oh, the shiny textures. And we're immediately shipped into a cutscene. It's a cutscene that's actually tied to that chest.
So I'm assuming you can't skip this in your pro strat runs.
No, and it's kind of hilarious what happens with this cutscene with said pro strats.
I got Naburu, no, she's been sucked into black currant juice.
I thought she was going to the Shadow Realm. Yep, being banished by Kome and Katake. They are Ganondorf's surrogate mothers. And so far, really the only notable members of Ganondorf's army that we've seen in this dungeon. Naburu said at the beginning that the Spirit Temple served as his headquarters for his minions, but all you find are enemies that you've seen in all the other temples. You could have told me the Forest Temple was Ganondorf's hideout, and I wouldn't have doubted that.
I was always really intimidated back in the day by the fact that a boss was actually outside of its designated room. Like, I didn't really feel safe in the dungeon after that.
I guess I've never had that thought, just because even in the first game, you would encounter bosses in other dungeons. Like, they would just be in random rooms, so the whole restricted within the room. That's a really interesting way of thinking about it.
Okay, we're done with Child Link now, so it's time to go back to the future.
Yep, last time we will see him in this playthrough. Thankfully, he gets his own game. But after that, he kind of disappears from the entire series, being replaced with Toon Link as the not adult Link character.
Yeah, who's not blood related or even spiritually related to any of the other Links at all.
his voice will come back a few more times. Fujiko Takimoto will continue to keep doing Youngling's voice in Minish Cap, and in the subpar GBA version of A Link to the Past. Seriously, don't play. Just get yourself an NES, and it'll all be better. Seriously, there's nothing more annoying than playing A Link to the Past with a zoomed-in screen and GBA quality sound clips.
Yeah, the GBA port of Yoshi's Island has anything to write home about either.
That one actually suffers more from lack of buttons.
Yeah, I can see what you mean though.
Can we just stay out here? I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep gushing about this song, it's so good.
Well, at least I actually gave you the proper intro now, because I think back in the training grounds bit, I actually had to cut it off. It was a bit of a weird edit.
Plus, there was the whole nighttime. You're not forgiven for that, Tom.
Never ever.
No. You will rue the day.
And here's what we can do with the Silver Gauntlets. Push extremely heavy blocks.
Yeah, which is really weird because the gauntlets are supposed to increase your strength, yet he still has just as much struggle pushing small blocks with them on.
Logic, how does it work?
I know it's an oversight, but you would think with the increased strength, you know, he would push big blocks slowly, and then the old blocks that used to be pushed slowly, that he would like kind of breeze through them. For those people who have been arguing that, oh, you have to do the Shadow Temple before this because you need the hover boots to get that rupee, there's a lot of ways to get that rupee, and I'm not just talking about a mega backflip. You could also extend your jump with a jump slash, or just, you know, jump on the boulder and have the recoil knock you into the rupee.
You know, until I started researching like speedrunning tactics, mostly due to doing commentaries with you and whatnot, I never knew that Ocarina could be so open-ended.
It's so non-linear. That's why people make bingo races about it. You can't make a bingo out of just any game. It has to be so non-linear that you can get any item at any time.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing how the next 3D Zelda plays out, because they've mentioned wanting to make it more open-ended, similar to the early 2D games.
Well, they're on their way to doing just that, and they're doing it very well. Link Between Worlds, doing any dungeon in any order. Oh, yes.
How is that, by the way?
It is so good. It's in like my top 3 now.
Really?
Oh, dude. Yes, please. Oh my god. A Link Between Worlds. If you have not gotten it, if you are hesitant, get it. If you even remotely enjoyed A Link to the Past, you will get it, you will love it, and you will forget all of your bad Zelda memories.
Well, I never played Link to the Past growing up, but I've heard nothing but good things about Link Between Worlds. In fact, GameSpot even gave it their Game of the Year award, so...
And guess what they got for doing that? Death threats, and they had to lock down their offices.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
You fucking cunts.
Fucking gamers. You guys are all degenerate nerds.
Okay, moving on. Sorry, that got me more angry than I expected, really.
Mad about games, Tom?
Always, Mexi, always. Another Zelda-related piece of news is Hyrule Warriors.
Yes, where you can be Link and kill all the mooks, and I mean all the mooks.
It's basically Dynasty Warriors with like a Zelda makeover, and I've got to say, as mindless as it looks, I want to play the shit out of it. In fact, this is something I've wanted from Zelda in like ages, really, for a good, I don't know, half a decade or so.
The thing I've wanted from Zelda is kick-ass scarves, and I got that.
Better column A, better column B. It's ticking all the boxes.
The long shot is pretty useful in this room, you know, to get yourself over to that chest, but it also does something really cool. In the original game, you could use the long shot to latch and pull yourself up onto the Colossus, but, here's the catch, there was only one part in her entire body that was latchable.
Oh boy.
And those would be her nipples. No other part on the statue. And guess what? Here's the kicker. They left it in the remake. Oh, Nintendo, you pervy son of a bitches.
Oh my god.
Yep. Here's the other Anubis Ruby you're talking about. This can be a difficult puzzle, and in Master Quest, this is a near impossible puzzle to do without a strategy guide.
Yeah, Master Quest ramps up the puzzle difficulty. It's like Oracle of Ages tier, really.
Ooh, that is hardcore right there. You may have also noticed on the wall, there's a hieroglyph or a carving, whatever you want to call it. I don't know the specifics. You see an eyeball with wings that looks suspiciously like Vadi.
Really?
No one's ever tried to claim it is, but at the very least, it looks like him.
Okay, now this is pretty tricky. You gotta trick one of the Beamos, or the Armos, to jump onto this switch, and then quickly go through as fast as possible.
And not roll into it, wasting time.
Well, I panicked, okay? I kept randomly tapping the A button.
You must be in a constant state of fear and anguish when playing video games, huh?
Well, it's the ambience of the temple, I think.
You should take, like, heart medication for video games.
I think you're not too far off the mark there, to be honest.
And here's the easier of the Iron Knuckle fights. Yes, if you got through the child version, this is a piece of cake. You have a higher damaging weapon, you have a greater jump slash, and Link just seems way more agile. Another thing that we kind of mentioned in the last fight is that, yes, you can have the Iron Knuckle destroy those pillars if you're low on hearts, or if you want rupees if you need them at this point in the game.
Who drops these chests, by the way? I mean, these ones outside in particular.
The goddess of the sand. Praise the goddess of the sand. Praise the goddess and her religious censored items.
Yeah, do you want to go into a bit of detail about the mirror shield, which is kick-ass and goes wonderfully with the red tunic, my ad?
Yes. No, before mirror shield, we need to talk fashion here. Zelda fashion. This is the ultimate getup. The red and silver, I almost wish you could get through this game without upgrading the silver gauntlets, just so you could keep this awesome outfit.
Okay, now the religious subtext.
Now for the less important thing about the shield. In the original, and so I believe versions 1.0 and maybe 1.1, the mirror shield has a design that's supposed to be the Gerudo's original, like, race symbol of a crescent moon with a star.
Yeah.
For those of you who have any inclination to religion, you will know this. This is also the symbol for the religion of Islam.
Yep.
And just like the music in the Fire Temple, getting rid of Islamic chants, they got rid of the symbol on the mirror shield. The chants, I don't really get, but this symbol, I kinda get. I'm disappointed, but I get it.
Well, it's like the pained face in Majora, since the shield will be on your back for the majority of gameplay, unless you're in a combat situation, you're always going to be looking at it, so that's harder to, ignore.
That makes sense. Also, thank you, Tom, for going the easy way out of this room.
Oh god, I never liked that section, to be quite honest. It's so easy to get clipped and fall all the way down.
I get frustrated watching people when they try to do the room. Like, even when people know, they're just like, oh no, I don't want to. It's like, no, please, do yourself, myself, everyone, just do the universe a favor and don't try to do the room without the long shot. This room always feels so out of place in this temple. Maybe it's because they threw in the Forest Temple doors for reasons?
Yeah, it looks so out of place.
I mean, especially since the Spirit Temple has really nice door designs. Why mess with it? But the puzzle is that there is an ice switch behind one of the doors. If you're masochistic, you could try and open every single one and let yourself get smacked in the face with a door. Or be reasonable and just cheat your way through it.
I like the way they brought that back for Luigi's Mansion. Evil doors trying to get their own back on you.
Is that in the first Luigi's Mansion, or was that only in the new one?
It's in both.
Nice. I do remember in the original, an easy way to get this key is to have one of the slugs kind of hit you, so damage you, and then within your invincibility moment, you can actually open the chest.
Ah, yeah, I see that.
So since they're fire, it's fire, the game can't really double fire damage you.
It can try, it's not going to succeed, but it can try all the same.
Honestly, the game tries to do way crazier things, and usually doing said things results in it crashing or teleporting you to the moon. But yeah, the game has really weird logic.
The game just starts chucking the Zalfos at you from this point onwards, and they're not really a threat at all.
In the early parts of Adult Link, I mean, they served a really important purpose. It was like, okay, you've made it through Child Link, you know how to slash stuff, you've learned to use specific items for specific enemies, but now we need to work on your timing and swordplay. And that was the whole point of making the Stalfos. They were there to be an enemy that you can't just repetitively slash. Now that you've gotten that mastered, and now that you actually have an inventory with weapons that are better suited for fighting them than the Master Sword, they seem way less of a threat.
It's just like oversized lizards coming at you again with a butter knife.
Oh, dear lizards, it's not like I beat those in the second temple.
You know, after playing through Majora's Mask, these reflection puzzles seem childlike in comparison.
I know, this one is just move it in a box. I mean, the mirror shield kinda... They put it to some pretty good use in this temple, but it isn't until Majora that they start, coming up with actually really complicated puzzles and using it outside of dungeon-specific puzzles.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's in this version of the game or Master Quest, but watch out because a War Master might fall on you.
Master Quest, that's a dick move, so let's assume it's Master Quest.
Of course.
I always loved this part, but I kind of was frustrated the first time I did it because I was expecting like instant decay. But in the original, you kind of have to hold your shield on her face for a while, and you start to see little crumbling before you get the cutscene. In this version, you get the crumble cutscene instantly.
Well, that's one of the changes that just improves the game overall.
Just making stuff faster. Honestly, you don't need to make it super speedy, but just to the point where I don't have to wait for something that does not need to be waited for.
It may be just because we're playing this, or talking over it rather, again after such a long time, but the texture work and the model improvements stand out so much more in this temple as opposed to any of the others, I think.
Also, this cutscene, yes, this is a cutscene, this cutscene will play if you stay on the title screen for too long. So you can actually get spoiled a bit on who's the boss of the last temple right there on the title screen.
Thanks, Nintendo. Raise the roof!
Huzzah! Kegger, broskies! Wait, no, that's wrong. It's wrong because if you actually look at the model of the person inside the Iron Knuckle, they're all Gerudos.
Huh.
Yeah, so that causes people to come up with their fan theories again that all Iron Knuckles are actually Gerudos that the witches kidnapped and then brainwashed into being in the Knuckle suit. A weird thing you can do with this Iron Knuckle too is that you can have it essentially void you out, like knock you clear out of the room.
OMG, it's Nibiru.
Zelda plot twists. They're not the best, but you take what you can get.
Oh my god, I can't take the witches seriously again after Majora's Mask. I'm gonna drink that red potion right in front of you. Why didn't you just do that to Link? You had to be so petty and take back your kidnap victim.
A kidnap victim they've had for 7 years!
I mean, Link was pretty much stunned by what was going on. He wouldn't have reflected it back at you, which is ironic seeing how he actually beats you in the fight.
I know, you would think that they would have had some sort of attachment, at least as a pet. Maybe, but no, it's like, oh, nope, spell broke, get rid of that. Don't want it no mo.
Dude, the walls look so much better in this version of the game. They got a little glowy effect going on.
Yes! Yes, yes, a million times yes, I love the wall effect. It's so good. But other than that, the room is exactly the same. Notice the fire emblem out of where she's coming out of?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice on the other one that she has the water medallion emblem out of where she's coming out. Because the water temple, again, it was meant to be an ice-based dungeon. The witches' names actually come from, I believe it's a book? They're just two old ladies in a book, so they decide, hey, let's take their names and put them in our game.
Here we go, guys. RNG Central.
Spin to win. Spin to win. Yes, you have to, like most Zelda bosses that are magical based, send their magic back at them. However, you don't want to send the corresponding magic back at the same witch. Instead, you want to send it to her opposite sister.
Say, like, the fire shooting one, send it to the ice witch.
Exactly. If you're having some kind of issue telling which one is Komei and which one's Kotaki, the way I usually figure it out is that think of me and ta. M comes before T, and you usually think of fire, ice. So Komei is fire and Kotake is ice.
When you say that, I keep thinking you're saying Kotaku.
No. The only good Kotaku's for is to read terrible, terrible comments on speedrun videos.
So, what's your experience with this fight, mate? Because we've basically talked about all the strategies for it, no?
Well, there's another strategy you missed out. If you're having issue with the other witch flying around, you can actually use your hook shot and sort of with a rapid fire, without actually sending the needle head out, if you aim at a witch, she'll spin in place, and that's actually a very useful strategy to keep them from flying around. Instead, keep them where you need them.
Huh, that's actually kind of genius.
Yeah. The game doesn't tell you this, but it is a strategy and a very, very helpful one.
I think my problem with the fight is the camera's not really zoomed out enough, so one of the witches that you're trying to concentrate on can, like, go out of your field, as it were, and your strategy is just dust.
That's a problem that they have in their other appearance in the Oracle games. They are a secret boss, and the secret, oh, you beat both games ending, is usually that one of the witches will be on screen, and the other one will be clear on the other side of the room, off of the screen, so you just have to slash your sword and hope this magic spell will hit them.
Oh, here we go, phase 2.
Usually takes about 3, if you're unlucky, 4 hits in order to get the second double dynamite attack.
Wink.
It's so anime. The strategy's completely changed for this. Now there's no other sister to send the spells back. And apparently the magic's also weaker because you need to charge your shield up with her spells. It takes 3 shots in order for your shield to be completely charged. For her first round, she'll usually do the 3 spells in order. But after that first time, she'll start mixing it up. Sometimes she'll do 2 ice, 1 fire. If your shield collects magic of the opposite element of what you're collecting, you've lost all your power.
Yeah, so if you go like ice, 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 you're good. But if it goes ice, ice, fire, you'll just take damage. And like Mexi said, she will try and fake you out, so you gotta be careful.
And these fire and ice attacks, they're no joke, especially since they remain on the field, even in their first phase. If the fire hits the stage and you're not moving fast enough, you're gonna take a lot of fire damage, and if the ice is on the stage, you'll take a lot of frozen damage.
Now, what I don't get about this is, why is the mirror shield only now having, like, absorption properties? That could have made for some really interesting puzzles throughout the dungeon.
I don't know. The only other time mirrors storing energy is used again is in the Stone Tower Temple, and it's not your shield, it's the other mirrors that you have to charge them up with light. Just gotta take your time. Once again, this is completely random. I've had times where Twinrova will just use fire, 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 and yet even more fire, and it's like, well, that was an easy boss fight.
Yep, as we said, RNG Central. But she's done now. Good riddance.
Really good boss fight? As a kid, I liked it. It seemed so different using the enemy's attacks that way. But now, it's just a comical fight. I honestly find it more funny now.
Yeah, I think they're good characters, honestly.
It's probably why they brought them back in a less fun stage. Also, in the Hyrule mythology, even though you can be an evil witch who has raised up the Dark Lord with your sister and attacked the hero, you can still go to heaven. I don't get it.
This is amazing. Just two old hags arguing.
My anus, my anus, my anus, my anus.
No, that's not what it sounds like. Stop putting these ideas in mine and our fans' heads.
I love you, fans. Now keep thinking about my anus.
Hang on a tick. Why is it all fiery up here? Ah!
Silly Tom, there is no hell in Hyrule. It's only low rule.
It's like the whole stone tower thing when you flip it upside down, like hell is in the sky and heaven's in the earth.
Link gets sent into the stratosphere and apparently doesn't die in the coldness of space. No, he just teleports right back.
I want a space dungeon in the next one, and I want the item you get in there to be like a pulse rifle.
What? Don't even. Oh my god.
I'm not being serious.
And that's the last crystal teleportation scene we'll see.
Nice to see this place is still flooded, even months down the line.
This, I really like. Even though she's not really shown to be very Gerudo-like, other than, that she is, I think it's kind of cool that a member of the enemy race is a sage. Like, she's almost redeeming her race. Like, even though their leader is bad, that doesn't necessarily mean that as a race they're bad. There are still good people within it, one so good that she's a sage.
The only problem I have with her being a sage is she wasn't really fleshed out enough. I think if you met her more times throughout the dungeon, it would have had greater impact.
Definitely, but honestly, if you're going to complain about characters not being fleshed out in Ocarina of Time, you're gonna have a really bad time. I mean, most of these characters, they just have a role, they have a personality trait, and that's about the most you're gonna get.
True, it's still a 64-bit game at heart.
Also, you got the Cancer Medallion.
What?
The astrological sign for Cancer, turn around its side. It's the same as the Spirit Medallion symbol.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, not the... Oh god, no.
Horrible implications, Mexi. Horrible and horrific implications. Link, you've got all the medallions. Come fight the final boss.
Hooray!
That'll do it for now, folks, but we'll see you in an hour or two for part 18. So see you then.